Hello, everyone. My name is Grace Wang.
And my name is Fanshuo Cheng.
Today, we will be discussing the impact of conversational agents language on self-efficacy and summary writing.
To characterize agent language, we had agents use either formal or informal language. Formal language is pre-planned, well-organized, coherent, and has a low reliance on context.
Informal language, on the other hand, is more spontaneous, less organized, disjointed, and has a high reliance on context. In the design of agent language, we use the personalization principle and multi-level language to characterize formal versus informal language. The personalization principle adopts personal pronouns to differentiate between the two, with informal language being represented by first and second person pronouns, and formal language being represented by third person pronouns and impersonal articles.
The multi-level principle, on the other hand, uses features like word abstractness, syntax, referential cohesion, deep cohesion, and non-narrativity to distinguish conversational language from formal language.
A meta-study showed that in 14 out of 17 experiments, personalized or informal language had a positive effect on learning, which involves both retention and transfer tests. These experiments focused on teaching and testing various science topics, and the correlation was most significant in cases where students had low prior knowledge or achievement and in short sessions up to 35 minutes.
Other studies found positive effects on retention or transfer tests, but not both. This inconsistency could have been caused by differences in learning environments, learners, and instructional language.
To examine the effects of multi-level language, we used AutoTutor-Arc. AutoTutor-Arc models learners' cognitive states, designs a low-competence peer agent, and provides negative feedback to the peer agent if the human learner gives an incorrect answer.
Empirical evidence in AutoTutor-Arc found no significant effect of agent language on summary writing, learners' use of language, or engagement. In the context of learning, we define self-efficacy as a learner's belief about their capability to achieve academic success.
We also analyzed the results of previous studies on academic success in reading and writing. These studies found a positive correlation between self-efficacy and academic success.
Additionally, previous studies showed that in ITS, socially oriented agents that spoke in encouraging language improved learner self-efficacy.
On the other hand, formal agents that spoke in a task-oriented style elicited greater self-efficacy in low-competency older users. Our experiment aimed to answer the following two questions. Does agent language affect learner self-efficacy and summary writing performance?
And is learner self-efficacy associated with their summary writing performance?
When designing agents' language, we created three conditions.
The formal condition where both agents speak formally, the informal condition where both agents speak informally, and the mixed condition where the tutor agent speaks formally and the peer agent speaks informally.
We followed the multi-level theoretical framework and the pragmatic space framework to generate conversations of two agents in formal and informal languages, respectively. The guidance that determines language formality consists of 5 primary text levels.
Words, such as familiarity or lengths of words. Syntax, such as complexity of sentences and modifiers. Referential cohesion, which refers to overlapping context words. Deep cohesion, or the use of connectives in casual words. Genre, or first and second pronouns versus third person pronouns.
Let's see an example of formal and informal discourse. In the formal discourse, the words statement and specify are more academic than the words answer and show in the informal discourse.
Additionally, the sentence in the formal discourse contains more clauses and has more connectives than the informal discourse.
Conversation with the peer agents followed the EMT dialogue mechanism and a 5-step tutoring frame. Participants were first asked a main question, they would answer, and the agents would give short feedback. Then, multiple dialogues would help move the participant towards the expectation, and the conversation would be wrapped up.
177 participants were recruited from Amazon Mechanical Turk and were paid $30 for 3 hours.
Participants first took a pretest to measure their beginning abilities and self-efficacy. After a session with the agent tutors, they then took a post-test, testing the same skills and self-efficacy, and the results were compared to those from the pre-test.
The pre-survey had 5 sections: personal information, perception of summary writing, perception of self-efficacy, prior reading, and a summary writing pretest.
During the intervention, participants listened to a mini lecture introducing concepts such as using signal words to identify the type of passage being read. Participants then read multiple passages and answered a series of multiple choice questions, receiving feedback and scaffolding for their responses.
Then, participants would move on to an open answer summary writing phase where they would read passages and write a summary on their own. This step did not include feedback or scaffolding.
The pretest and post-test, on the other hand, only tested open-ended summary writing. Thus, they also did not provide feedback or scaffolding.
4 experts manually graded these summaries based on the 4 criteria rubrics. Besides mechanics and grammar, there are topic sentence, major information, and the use of signal words.
Graders had 3 rounds of training. Each round, they graded 32 summaries, 4 from each source text. Their intra-class correlation coefficient was above 0.80 for each round.
After training, each expert graded summaries from 2 source texts.
A one-way ANCOVA found a significant difference in self-efficacy gains between language used. Specifically, we found that the informal language setting gave participants much higher self-efficacy gains in comparison to the formal setting. This is consistent with findings from previous, similar studies.
A simple regression was performed with summary writing gains as a dependent variable and self-efficacy gains as an independent variable. Results showed a marginal significant relationship. Adding the agent language condition and covariates did not improve the model performance. This graph shows the more self-efficacy gains learners had, the fewer summary writing gains they achieved.
This finding is inconsistent with previous findings that self-efficacy had a positive correlation with reading and writing learning outcomes.
In conclusion, conversational language resulted in higher self-efficacy than formal language, but it did not affect summary writing performance. Additionally, the more self-efficacy gains learner had, the fewer summary writing gains they achieved. We should therefore use conversational language to increase learner self-efficacy and provide immediate real-time feedback so that learners have a more accurate perception of their abilities.
Limitations of this study include the short-term intervention of 1-hour training and that learners were recruited from Amazon Mechanical Turk. Future studies will provide a long-term intervention in traditional classroom settings with native English students in grades 5 to 7. Another limitation is the self-reported efficacy. Future studies could add additional self-efficacy instruments. The present study also did not provide feedback on written summaries. In the future, automated feedback would be adopted on the quality of written summaries.
This research was sponsored by the Institute of Education Sciences.
Does anyone have any questions?